Liverpool Fan in Japan.
Hello YouTube, Liverpool Fan in Japan here, the Miyazaki Man SI, and I'm delighted to be joined by the Redmen TV Head of Operations, Ste Hoare. How are you doing, lad?
I am great, mate. Thanks for having me on. Appreciate it. Looking forward to it.
Excellent, much appreciated. So much to go through. Obviously, big changes afoot at Liverpool. Arne Slot coming in. What's the kind of perception of Arne Slot in Liverpool?
Yeah, it's hard to say, really. We haven't really heard or seen too much of him. Obviously, I think a lot of people were impressed by his interview they did with Liverpool. We're actually going to get the chance to hear from him. He's got a press conference come up, which will be first time anyone really gets to be around him. But I think the first impressions were it's going to be different. Of course, it is. He feels like a bit more of a calmer, chilled guy, but one who's full of confidence, and he knows he's very respectful. I think it was his idea to leave a gap between Jurgen leaving and him speaking. That was, I think, wise. So I think everyone will give him a chance. I've never seen a Liverpool manager not be given a chance, even ones where we weren't 100% sure if they were the right guy or not. So he'll definitely be given a chance, and his track record suggests that he's more than capable of doing it. The one thing I thought interesting from his press conference, his interview, was he didn't shy away from the fact that he knows that Liverpool need to be winning things and doing well. He mentioned like he wants to compete with Arsenal and City, and he wants to get more points than last year. So he hasn't downplayed expectation, which sometimes new managers can do. So I thought that was quite impressive. But yeah, I think once we get into the stadium and once all that kind of stuff gets going, it might be you get a more rough idea of what people think. But I think the first impressions have been quite positive.
Indeed. Very, very professional. He's up to the challenge. He knows the expectations placed on him at Liverpool as well. But I guess tactically, when we see pre-season, when we see who he selects and how team formulate their attacks as well, it's going to be different than Jurgen Klopp, because Jurgen Klopp, we're used to that kind of Gengen pressing, 100 miles an hour, down the wings, direct, false nine with Bobby Firmino as well, reinventing the kind of attack and the way to go about attack. But with Arne Slot, from Feyenoord, Eredivisie, into the Premier League, how do you envisage the kind of tactical approach? What do you want to see when you're sitting there at Anfield on a match day?
Yeah, I think I could imagine a world where Liverpool try and control the ball a little bit more than they did under Jurgen. I don't think Liverpool are going to be a passive team or a team, who probably keep the ball as much as say Man City or not. I don't think I envisage them doing that. I think that you've got to use the fact that Anfield's special and it's you want to up the tempo probably a little bit more and things like that. But the interesting thing is we don't even know like the formation he will use. A final driver, he would use a bit more of a different shape. He would play with an actual number 10. Liverpool don't really use that. So I'm actually going on the pre-season tour to America, and I think that's usually with pre-season, it's a case of just getting the players fit. You don't really learn anything tactically with Jurgen because you knew what Jurgen's tactics were. It was just you'd learn a little bit like what does he see as a certain role for a certain player, for example. Does he see them playing up front or right whatever? I think with Slot, when we get to America, I think that is one of the things people will be looking at for sure. Like, what is the difference between his team and Jurgen's? I do think that Liverpool will try and still be on the front foot, be aggressive, try and win the ball back, but maybe a little bit calmer than perhaps Jurgen's Liverpool were. But I'm fascinated because this squad that Liverpool have is very much moulded by Jurgen's
his image, his way of playing,
his image, his system, what he requires from players. And now so I can't imagine Slot can actually divert away too much because the squad might not be there yet. But he said himself there'll be changes, and I'm looking forward to seeing what they are.
Indeed, absolutely. And this is one of the things I find really fascinating as well. So a lot of the times when you see kind of YouTube videos and how a manager fit into the new environment, people go on the previous club's formation, how they play, the style of play. But any manager with a bit around them uses the players, uses the assets, uses the qualities that you have at your disposal to shape with your philosophy, the kind of system, the kind of formation, and how you go about attacking. Because like Xabi Alonso, for example, in Real Sociedad Youth and Real Madrid Youths as well, he played more of a 4-3-3, but by Leverkusen, straight to 3 at the back because of, the personnel with Frimpong. So, for example, with Arne Slot, I really see he's got an attacking force. He's got so many attackers in that lineup: Jota, Gakpo, Nunes, Salah. You try and fit in Fabio Carvalho, Harvey Elliott. What would be your opening day front three for that first match?
If everyone's fit, right from what we've got now, it would be Salah, Jota. I'm tempted to say Diaz, but Gakpo's is in such good form, and he ended the season really well. I would probably edge towards Cody Gakpo now. I believe so. I think Liverpool will probably sign a forward, so that might go into the mix as well. But yeah, I think probably Gakpo edging it, but I do see it's tough because again it's so hard because I don't even know what type. That doesn't seem to be screaming a lot of pace in that attack. But then if Liverpool are going to play a more controlled game, then that's fine.
Technical build up.
I would be okay with that. But Arne, he said himself, he's taken over a very good squad. Very few managers ever will have taken over a team with a squad as good as this. It's very, very rarely in any team, because usually if a manager's taken over, the last guy's made the mess of it. Jürgen actually made a little bit of a mess of it and then was in the process of fixing that mess when he decided to step down. So it's a very good squad. If you take over a team that got 82 points, won a trophy, got pretty far in a couple of in other cup competitions as well, you're not taking over a bad squad. I'm really looking forward to actually just seeing how he does it, because it's a clean slate for everybody. I heard you mention Fabio Carvalho there. Now, he was out. It just wasn't working for him under Jurgen Klopp. He now gets the opportunity to impress the new manager in a full pre-season when other players might be away on international duty. So think players like him, it opens the door for a lot of players. It happened when Jurgen arrived. Some people who maybe have been outcast or weren't quite involved in the wrong position. You mentioned Roberto Firmino before. Under Rodgers, it wasn't working. Jurgen comes in and here we go. So there's not only you could see a world where Carvalho gets an opportunity, Harvey Elliott becomes a number 10, or what does the manager think? Does he think where does Alexis play? Oh, there's so many questions. That's why
many questions. Yeah,
it's, for the first summer, we don't have the answers. It used to be a case of, right, we know what's happening, we'll sign him, he'll go. Same old. This is so new, so fresh.
Yeah. Absolutely. And I know that Arne Slot absolutely loves his wingers as well, right? So if the system isn't working, you bring another winger, fresh, inventive, direct, try and do different things. We have an abundance of options on the left, but the right is a little bit lacking. It's Mo Salah, perhaps Harvey Elliott underneath him, Soboslai in an emergency, or someone out of place, a Lucho Diaz or a Gakpo on the right. If you could sign one position, one transfer, where would you go to? Number 6 would be a centre-back, that mythical left-footed, left-sided centre-back. Would it be a right winger? Who would be your priority?
I still think in Liverpool's 11, and I apologise in advance, but the easiest place to probably upgrade is like a number 6, because we've got Endo and that's it, really. Again, it depends what he sees Stefan Bajcetic as, but Alex isn't a 6. He was just doing a job there. Enzo's the only one, really. So, again, we'll see where Bajcetic is. He's had a year out, so we're asking too much of him at this moment in time. So I think a controller midfielder, one who ideally is better than Endo, but if he's not, he at least pushes Endo. We can rotate with Endo. I think that's probably the obvious place. But you are right. Liverpool's options on that right-hand side are very, very thin. It's Mo Salah, and then it's Ben Doak, young player, or it's guys who are filling in, doing a job. So it's why I do think, Liverpool have been linked to all these players, and they're all left wingers. And I was like, we've got so many left wingers. Diaz, Jota, you've got Gakpo, Darwin can play there as well. On the right-hand side, it very much is Mohamed Salah. And that's been great for 5 years or 6 years because he's Mo Salah. He's a legend. But you are right. I think that would be, if Liverpool do sign a forward, I would quite like it to be somebody who can play on the right. They don't have to play there all the time, because when Mo's fit and available, Mo will play. Sure. But someone who can do that role, because, that is definitely something that's missing. But I think if you look at the best teams in Europe at the moment and who's at the base of their midfield, it's Rodri, it's Declan Rice from Madrid, who pick whoever you want, Camavinga, whoever. All these players, I don't think Liverpool have got that yet. And actually, there's some teams below Liverpool in the Premier League who might have maybe options who are as good or better. So I do believe at that base of that midfield is something that, if especially if Arne Slot wants to control the games more, and perhaps if he wants to go with 4 attackers, he's going to need that person to be really good at defending. So I think probably that. Although there aren't too many names springing out in world football who you just go, yes, go and get him. It feels like there's a lot of gambles, a lot of young players, but I think that would probably be my preference.
Yeah, no, makes sense. Makes sense. I'd go with an athletic, kind of technical number 6, maybe an Edison from Atalanta or Matt Weaver. You know what you're going to get for a season. I think you having that 4-2-3-1, that double pivot at the bottom, that solidarity and the ability to spring off there and just let the front four do their thing while securing the midfield is definitely going to be a ploy that we see in Arne Slott's style of play. I'm thinking that, as you mentioned, the handover is one of the best handovers in world football. Klopp left the infrastructure, the training ground, the youth setup, the talent through all the ranks coming through to prominence as well. But what I really think with Arne Slot is he likes versatility, styles, players with something a bit about them, a bit of dynamism. So the player that I'd really like behind the Mo Salah, and this is going back way back when Sadio Mane first joined, right, as the right winger, that performance against Arsenal, the power, the pace, but the most important thing is the two-footedness. I find that we're a little bit predictable in attack now that Mane is left because everyone is so one-footed. Salah with the left, Nunez with the right, Gakpo cutting on the right, Lucho Diaz cutting on the right. I want a two-footed player. And Anthony Gordon, to me, I know we've been linked with him in the transfer rumours. He played on the right for Everton. He plays on the left for Newcastle, but he can be a false runner, a dummy runner, a false nine, a front man as well. I think he'd be so perfect because of the fact that he can go both ways. He's two-footed. I like those kind of little intricacies in the players where, it adds something extra to the attack. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think if you asked Anthony Gordon, he would quite like to join Liverpool as well. Maybe Newcastle aren't so keen on that one. But yeah, you're right. When I first saw him linked, again, my first thought was, another left forward.
Yeah.
But like you say, someone who can go on the right and offer that pace. Because I'm not still convinced that Luis Diaz will be here. If I'm honest, I've still got my doubts about that. It feels like there's a lot of noise around him and Barcelona and things like that.
Levers, pulling them levers to get more finance.
Yeah, I think maybe he just fancies the going to Barca, which a lot of South American players do. They've got no money, so they're gonna have to figure that out. But someone I agree, someone on that right hand side with pace, and also just like last season, with the first time we saw Mo Salah get a real injury, he's been indestructible for the most part. He's been incredible. That was his first real muscular injury, and it clearly affected him because by the end of the season, he was a shadow of himself. People remember Mo Salah, we ended the season and it was really poor, but the start of the season, Mo Salah, before the AFCON was, the goal, all his goals and assists pretty much came then before he come back, and his numbers were great. So I think that's something to be wary of, that usually that first muscle injury is a precursor to more of them. And at this moment in time, I don't think Liverpool have got suitable cover to be without Mo Salah for an extended period, because they looked after him as best they could last season. He didn't play much Europa League. Like, there is no Europa League now; it's Champions League, and Mo Salah's going to play in the Champions League. So you do need somebody, I think, who's as, you're not going to get no one better, of course, but someone who's bridging that gap between Salah and a young player, or a player out of position. I agree. I think that would be something I would be keen for Liverpool to get.
Indeed. And, the squad is already strong. It is a strong squad, and there are options available there. And the youth ranks, when you make Liverpool content, how do you make the decision between your personal preferences, topics and videos that you want to make against what is mainstream, what's in the news right now, what will perform well on YouTube? How do you strike that balance?
Yeah, it's a good question. It's a tough question. To be honest, we just kind of do what we want, but we listen to the audience as well. Like we won't. So it's a little bit of both. We'll sit down. Listen, we are a business, so there are numbers that you have to hit. If we don't make money, people lose their jobs. Like, it's as simple as that. So we need to. That's one part of it, but also we don't do nothing that we don't want to do. We would never force a piece of content out because we think it'll do well, but we don't want to do it, because I think that would come across from as well in our personalities. Like, you could tell that we would just
enthusiasm,
go through the motion. So we have to make sure people are enjoying the content. We like what we're doing, things like that. Each few months or whatever, I will sit down with Paul, who's obviously in charge of the creative and the content, and we will plan out the content that we think we want to do, but what we think people might like. We'll try new things. We will do that. We will try something and we'll give it time. And if it's clearly not working, then maybe that gets put to the side. But we've got a staple of content that we know works quite well. So we have our podcast, we have the preview stuff, we have the match day stuff, which tends to know roughly, and then we'll try and add little bits and bobs to it. So we'll keep an eye on the space and just see if there's any ideas that we can effectively steal.
I love it.
We can do better. But what we've always said, like, our motto is, like, if we don't think we're doing it to like the best level, then we won't do it. So if someone else is doing something and we don't think we can do it better or as good as them, then we won't do it because you look like a cheap imitation of somebody.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Imitation is the best form of flattery, but you've got to add your own flavor, your own quality to it, make it stand out amongst the crowd. And speaking of which, Redmen TV, what makes Redmen TV special compared to other Liverpool content, other Liverpool channels? What is the special sauce?
Yeah, I don't know. You'd have to ask people who watch and listen. What I would say is we're all Liverpool fans.
Yeah.
None of it's fake. Like everything we say is legit. We get accused sometimes of like towing line. It's nonsense, honestly. We say what we want. We say what we think. We are what we are. We're passionate Liverpool fans. Paul and Chris did a great job early on in Redmen of getting this all set up and building an audience and things like that.
Sure.
But I think people just know that we're authentic and we're real and we're not polished and we're not. The idea of Redmen was basically Paul was sat watching TV and watching these pundits who clearly didn't care, just earning a paycheck to talk about Liverpool. He always says, and maybe apologies to Robbie Savage, but like I was sitting there watching Robbie Savage talking about Liverpool, and I was thinking, I don't care what Robbie Savage thinks. I just do not care. Like I've got no idea. So we're just supporters. We've never claimed like to be anything else or any voice of authority, or like we don't pretend we know more than other people. We're just football fans who go to football matches or watch the football matches and have our say on them. That's pretty much it. Is as simple, pretty much as that.
Yeah, that's good. I like the sound of that, being authentic, genuine fans, putting across quality content, and also it's entertaining, right? It's entertaining. You become personalities, personas as well, and basically you just want to give your viewpoints and stuff, and that will lead me nicely onto the next question as well. So Wataru Endo, obviously big reputation in Japan, coming to Liverpool. It was his kind of dream to go in the Premier League. He thought 30s might be too late, but Minamino opened the doorway. Endo steps right through it. He established himself. First, it's a little bit difficult getting used to the speed of the Premier League, getting used to the tactics on the Klopp. But then, against Kevin De Bruyne, that performance against Rice and Arsenal, stepping up in the biggest moments, scoring a beautiful goal against Fulham, right? Everyone is like, wow, we've got a gem here, an absolute steal. And then towards the latter part of the season, where the whole squad was getting tired and finding their feet and trying to plough the line. How would you rate Endo's first season at Liverpool?
Yeah, I think you're very right. I think I would say it was like, if you're doing a bell curve, it would be a bit like, okay, what's this? And then it went really high and then it come down a bit, which is to be expected. It took him a while to get used to the Premier League. He got used to the Premier League and he was way better than expected. And then by the end, I do feel the whole season caught up with a lot of players. And if it's going to catch up with somebody, it's probably going to catch up with a guy in his 30s playing his first year. Like that just makes a lot of sense. So, I'll be honest, when we signed him, I wasn't really aware of him. I didn't really know too much of him. I didn't watch Stuttgart. I didn't really know too much of Endo. Obviously, I'd seen him when I've watched Japan in World Cups and stuff, but he's not someone I'd really taken note of. So I was a bit, okay, who's this guy? Let's have a look at it. I thought he did about as well as we probably could have expected overall, but there were some real highs. I'd say around November, December, before he went to the Asia Cup. I thought he was nailed on playing. There was no doubt about it. And then I think post Asia Cup, I don't know if it, again, maybe a similar thing, maybe just playing and all the travel and the games caught up to him. I thought you could tell that he probably just wasn't quite at his level. So I think Endo is a good option. From what I saw last year, he probably needs someone to do that, give him a bit of help. He's not going to be able to do it all. I would be in no rush to get rid of Wataru Endo. Absolutely not. I think not at all. No chance, because worst case is when we signed him, I thought, okay, he's going to be. Well, clearly Alexis is the number 6, and Endo's going to fill in cup games or fill in Europe, and that's how it kind of started. But then Endo played so well in those games that he earned his place, and then he did well in the big games, like really well. I remember, I thought he was excellent when Liverpool down to 10 against Newcastle. Jürgen brings him on very early and he just does his job. He defends well. Even that Tottenham game when we were down to 9, I thought he was like, wow, he was everywhere. And he had some really, really top performances. At the end, it just held off, but I think that's on him now. He'll know the level. He also signed relatively late. Liverpool were, they tried to buy Moises Caicedo, they tried to buy Lavia, and then it's Endo's in, and it was a very, very, was it the day before, 2 days before the season started or something mad? Because then
Caicedo no pre-season.
So
yeah,
he had no pre-season with us. So now he gets the ability of slotting. Like I say, if you mentioned before, Si, if he's going to have someone next to him in like a double pivot, that'll make it easier for him as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, overall, I thought he had a good season. I'd say it peaked around the middle, but the start and the end weren't disastrous. They were just fine. But I thought he had. If you said to me you can get Wataru Endo around that November, December period and he could play like that for a season, Liverpool would take that and he would play every game and he'd be brilliant. We just probably need to get to a point where I don't know. You know more about him than me. Is that realistic to expect him to play that well for a year?
Yeah, so I made a preview video right at the start when Wataru Endo signed, because obviously relatively unknown in the Premier League, right? He has to have something about him. Bundesliga, he's a captain of a German team, which says something, right, for a Japanese player. I think only Makoto Hasebe came in and did that kind of thing. So Wataru Endo's role, I believe, initially was to allow McAllister and Szoboszlai to play further forward because they're new signings as well. But then you have a whole brand new midfield, right? Gravenberch, McAllister, Szoboszlai, and Wataru Endo. Bajcetic being injured was unexpected because Bajcetic would have really played a lot last season under Jurgen Klopp if he didn't have those growth spurt injuries and, the other stuff as well. And I think Thiago Alcantara would have played a lot. The expectation would have been on him, to transition from forward to back and connect the midfield and play those balls in behind as well. But the fact is he was injured. Then you're looking for ball playing ability at the base of midfield. Now, Szoboszlai is more of an athlete. He's more powerful. He's got that long shot. He's more of a direct player. And Gravenberch needs space to work his magic, do his turns as well. So who can progress the ball from the base of midfield? Actually, Endo's got a good progressive pass, but McAllister is probably the best progressor in absence of Thiago Alcantara. So then it kind of shaped the system and opinion there. And then they kind of discovered that, Endo is just winning us the ball back so much and giving McAllister and Szoboszlai and Gravenberch the freedom to go forwards, because when Endo is in the team, have you noticed that's when Gravenberch has played his good matches? Every time Endo plays, Gravenberch has the license to roam. McAllister goes into that kind of Mazzala half channel, plays, alongside Nunes and Salah as well. So really, he gives people the freedom and function to play their best type of football. And I also find that he's the type of player that will lead by example on the bench, in the dressing room. He'll be the number one cheerleader. He doesn't mind if he's replaced, if a number 6 comes in. I think he said it himself in the news recently. I don't mind if a 6 comes in. He just wants the team to win and, play a part of that. So in that regard, I think his role as the senior enforcer who will break up the play and give it to someone better, he did everything that could have been expected of him. Would you say that?
And add to that, you mentioned, I completely agree. He's actually a good guy as well.
Yeah.
I met him and he's a cool guy, like chill. His English was great and he probably spoke better English than me. You are right. Like I say, Liverpool, he's a seasoned veteran. He's been there, he's done it. He's not going to get flustered. I thought he had his best games sometimes actually when Trent Alexander-Arnold stood next to him a couple of times as well.
Yeah.
Because I agree, Endo's passing forward's really good, but also he's not going to spray a 40-yard diagonal. He's not going to do it. But if he can give it to Trent to do that, so if he's going to have someone next to him, he's definitely part of the squad next season. It looks like, it might be wrong, but I'm not sure Liverpool are going to actually sign another number 6 or another midfielder. So it's his spot to win. When I say that, it's his spot to lose. It's him versus Stefan Bajcetic, really, for that more defensive role. And it's up to him to go and win it. And so far, you'd suggest he would be winning it because Bajcetic has to prove he can stay fit and is fit and can go along with it. So I do think, we're going to see a lot of Endo again next year for sure.
Yeah, no, I think so. I think he will have a prominent part to play. But you mentioned Trent Alexander-Arnold here. Now, this is a very, very interesting one. So I do some part-time coaching, part-time player in the lower league, non-league J leagues for the local team here in Miyazaki. So Connor Bradley, to me, seems like almost the perfect right back. He's got that mixture of aggression, defensive responsibility, tackling, but he's really good at taking the ball on the move, progressing the ball, and he pops up in the opposition box with the ball at his feet, and he's got composure. He's got good delivery and a decent shot as well. He's almost the perfect prototype right back to bomb up and down the wing. But then what do you do about Trent? Because to me, Trent, and I've said this all the way through, Trent in midfield allows the opposition to put their best presser, their best high presser, and sit on him. It takes away his time and space. Trent is best when he can see the gaps to really move into, away from, the press, away from the marking, and then make an impact. The ball comes to him on a trigger point and off he goes. He sends it, he delivers it, he drives with it. When you put him in midfield, you take away his time and space and really reduce, the best qualities about Trent. But then Trent as a right back is world class. But then you've got the Connor Bradley conundrum, where he's almost the perfect right back coming in as well. What would you do with this Trent and Connor Bradley situation?
Yeah, I just play Trent. Conor Bradley's great and he'll get plenty of opportunity, don't get me wrong, but I completely agree. I would start Alexander-Arnold at right back, and then if he wants to go and drift into midfield, let him drift into midfield, but he needs to be in space. He needs to be, so if it means sticking out there, stick out there. If it means going inside and getting on the ball, go and do it. I love Conor Bradley. I think as breakouts go, that was as good as I've seen for a long time. If someone just coming in from day one and just looking like they belonged at the level. So credit to him. But again, young player, lots of games. There'll be ample opportunity for everybody to play football matches. Yes. There'll be tons of it. There'll be injuries, suspension. There'll be all kinds going on. So what it shows me actually is that I'm comfortable with the fact that we've actually got a backup right back who is a right back. Or since I can't remember that. Since I'd say Nathaniel Klein got booted out the team, pretty much Liverpool's backup right backs were Joe Gomez and James Milner. Centre back or a centre midfielder doing a job over there. Now we've got an actual right back who can play in advance. He can push Trent for his place, but also he can spot in and out, and you won't lose too much in an attacking sense as well. Indeed. So I love both of them. But yeah, listen, I completely agree. I think if you put Trent in midfield, I think he becomes easier to get out of the game. He's so dangerous when he adds to the midfield, so he overloads in there, and then well, what do we do? Okay, we'll close him down, and then all Trent did was just pop it to McAllister or pop it to an Endo.
Indeed.
So I agree with you. I think that if I'm on a slot, I would stick with Trent Alexander-Arnold at right back. But
he offers something no one else in world football can do what Trent can do from right back. And even when you look in history, right, and I'm going way back when I love the Ruud Krol for Netherlands and Giovinco Facchetti for Inter Milan, these amazing fullbacks who pioneered the roles, joined the attack, went in the opposition box, but nobody can play make and dictate play and get the assist numbers and on a sixpence and be that threat from the right back position. I don't think there's anyone, even Cafu, right, as good as he was, doesn't do what Trent does.
No, 100%. Yeah, he's just a joke. He's a freak of a footballer. He's a once in a lifetime type of player where he has to play. I agree. He has to play there, and you will take the fact that there might be some weaknesses there sometimes because no player is perfect. There's a weakness in every single player's team.
To protect.
Yeah, and then that's fine. Like deal with it. Like he'll offer you way more. But yeah, I'm delighted for Conor Bradley. It worked out so well for him. It was, it was a battle between him and Calvin Ramsey really. And
yes.
What happened was they both had injuries at different times, and then Conor got his chance and took it, and that's what you need to do. I always think you don't get too many opportunities at Liverpool. The level's too high, and it's really difficult. When you get in as a young player, you have to make your mark. If you don't, if you don't, like Sepp Vandenberg got in, didn't do it. He's gone. He's on loan. He won't come back. And Billy Cometti, who got a chance, didn't. He's gone. He won't come back. Whereas Conor Bradley was in the team. He got a game, an injury crisis, suspensions, whatever it was. Played well, and that was it. He's scoring goals against Chelsea. He's playing in cup finals.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's how quickly it can change. I look at like a Jadon Danns up front, limited opportunities, took his chance. That's what you've got to do, and Conor did it. So, yeah, I think he's fantastic, and there's a long future for Conor Bradley at Liverpool, and he'll be absolutely fine.
I think so.
But yeah, for now, I'm quite comfortable. I don't think there's too much controversy about it. Trent plays at right back for me.
Yeah, he's the world-class right-back who's won it all from right-back and done everything and offers you the attacking dimension. But there will be a place for Conor Bradley, and in particular games as well, his attributes will suit. But that's another reason why I don't want Trent going to midfield. We can call right-back a position of strength with Conor Bradley and Trent Alexander there. You can't call it a position of strength, I think, if you say Bradley and Gomez are your right-backs. But speaking of positions of strength as well, I'm really looking forward to the number 10 position behind a Darwin Núñez or Cody Gakpo or Diogo Jota. The number 10 position. But this is very interesting to me. Do you envisage Arne Slot playing a 10 as in a playmaker, right? One Roman Riquelme, a Pablo Aimar, or is it more of an attacking midfielder, a kind of Kaká, a Lampard, long-range shooter, someone who runs beyond the line and isn't threading the through balls like McAllister? Which of those variants, because they're very, very different, your attacking midfielder who's, your power forward who can drive and dribble, or your silky playmaker who plays the balls through the lines, picks up those pockets, even a Luis Garcia back in the day, finding and probing in front of, the defence. Which of those variants do you see happening at Liverpool next season? Yeah,
the squad suggests if he's going to play a number 10, that it will probably be Szoboszlai. So he's probably the latter of those kind of things. I think he is a good playmaker and he does spot those little through balls as well. But might get if it was 4-2-3-1 like we suggest, it'll be McAllister and somebody at the base, and then in front he's got loads of options. He's got Gravenberch, Jones, Elliott, so Carvalho's there as well. But I would guess of those, I love Harvey Elliott. I would always try and find a place in the team for him. But I think if when Arne starts the season, if that's what he does, I think it's probably Szoboszlai's share for a while, because he probably offers you the best of both. I also think it's important at times to remember, if it is going to be McAllister and Endo, I think Elliott or Carver, I mean, that's a short midfield. Like, and you mentioned before the Premier League, but your pace, power, athleticism, it is a thing. And of those players we've all mentioned, Szoboszlai's definitely the most advanced in that scenario in terms of how he gets about the pitch and things like that, how he started last season. So my guess is if he does go this route, it would probably be someone more in the Szoboszlai range. But the good thing is, again, you mentioned before, different opposition, different games. If you're playing against somebody where, you know, Elliott could do that role, or Jones or Gravenberch, he's going to have tons of options. He's got tons of them.
He does.
Probably too many, if I'm honest.
Very versatile.
It's a good problem to have. It's why I'm not convinced he'll do it, because I think if he plays with like a number 8 or 2 number 8s, it allows him to probably rotate those options a little bit better. So it's fascinating. The squad is very top heavy on like more attack minded midfielders. There's loads of them. You know, McAllister is the only. I think McAllister going into next season is the only player guaranteed to play.
Guaranteed a place.
The rest is all up for grabs, and it'll depend on what the manager wants, what his system wants, who's fit, who plays well, who impresses him. But the only, you know, I think McAllister, of the front 6 or 7, depending on how the manager plays it out, I actually think only Salah and McAllister are the only 2 guaranteed to play.
Cemented.
The other midfielders and the other forwards, there's no standout in a good way or a bad way. They're all good players. I'll be keen to see how he goes about that, because, like we said before, for so long we knew Jurgen's team for the most part. It was the team picked the team, and the team was the team. We haven't got that now, so. But going back to your question, I think probably Szoboszlai, but I'm not convinced. I just don't know, because it'll depend what slot wants.
His to lose. He might start there if he can really, really pick up the pace, get those long shots away, show his quality delivery, and make an impact. Like the early seasons, Szoboszlai would have been, perfect for that role. But I think you're completely right. There's so many tactical variations and options there. And something that made Jurgen Klopp's team week in, week out a threat was availability. Like Gini Wijnaldum, Mane played almost every game. Salah played almost every game. Van Dijk was always there and available as well. That consistency that you build, over time as well. But also another good thing about Liverpool, and I think it's a strength we've had since Jurgen Klopp's come in and removed some of, I wouldn't say deadwood, but some of the personalities, is that this Liverpool team have the camaraderie behind the scenes. They're lovely people, right? Endo is lovely. Gakpo's a gentleman, very, very mature. Jota's a gamer. He speaks very, very well as well. Darwin Núñez is kind of childlike in his innocence and fun. Van Dijk is, boss, cool, ebb and flow. You've got your Robertson, cheeky chappy, Trent, local scouser. You've met some of these players. What would you say have been your best interactions with these players and, behind the scenes that other people can't see apart from, the media kind of face?
Yeah, I'm trying to think. Who would you like me to speak about? I can you give me a name, I can tell you if I have or what I know, because they're all different.
Sure. Curtis Jones seems to be loving their social media as well. How's Curtis?
Curtis backs himself. Curtis is a very confident young man, but very humble as well. Like, he's a good guy. So I've come across Curtis a few times. The first time actually we come across him, he was really young. But he's a very confident young man. I like it. Yeah, he's a good guy. He's cool. I mean, I'll be honest, I'm not going to say a bad word, because I promise there's nobody. I mean, I've had some in the past, but there's nobody now who I would say, bad guy or wasn't friendly or wasn't cool. But yeah, Curtis is very. He's very Scouse. Like, I'd say that.
Yeah,
like, the way
the fashion sense as well. My goodness,
it's all of it. You can tell he's from where he's from. Like, he's a very confident man. He thinks he should be in the team, playing every week, every game. Backs himself 100% to do that.
Yeah, he has all the attributes, right? The touch is there, the technique is there. He's impossible to dispossess. He's press resistance as well. I think the only thing with Curtis Jones is you got to decide what kind of player you want him to be. Is he going to be the Gini Wijnaldum, rotating the ball, keeping the ball moving, pass the move, Liverpool groove, or is he going to be that definitive, play the ball through the lines, get beyond the last man, in and around the area? So that's going to be an interesting one around what Arne Slot decides to do with him. But Trent Alexander-Arnold, you've seen him grow from, a youngster, a boy, coming on against Manchester United, doing fantastic against some of the deadliest wingers in the world. And now he's hench, he's bulked up, he's gone through different hairstyles as well. How has his personality changed throughout the years?
Yes, he's grew up. I think he's very, like, young Trent compared to this Trent. He's very more... I'm not sure if guarded's the right way, but it probably is. Because he is a superstar, like, he really is. So I think it was probably easier to talk to Trent maybe a little bit in terms of on camera earlier, maybe, but off he's still a good guy. Like his relationship's probably better with Paul. He knows Paul makes him quite. They've got a good relationship between the two of them, so he's always been cool. But yeah, he's it's weird because when someone just oozes superstar a bit, he does that. Like a young kid who like was around the academy and we'd let on and say hello and that. Now like he does carry himself like he's very aware of that, which is awesome. Like again, because that's what he is. He's an absolute world superstar, and
indeed,
he's very I don't know if kind is probably the right word. Like he's always. You go, how are you trying to go? Or you know that we've done something. You go, I watched that or I saw that. So
sincere, very sincere.
Yeah, he's been a good guy.
Excellent. And what about like Darwin Núñez? Have you had a chance to interact with English?
No, I've never met Darwin. I'm not sure his English was ever. I think he was always work on the English. No, I've never come across Darwin. Sorry.
Yeah, no, I can tell. Like basically, he in Uruguay, right? In these kind of exotic, more kind of exciting players, they got a different lifestyle. So when they come to Liverpool, it's a slight adjustment period. Obviously, they form their kind of friendship circles. McAllister's taking him under the wing as well. McAllister seems like the kind of he's still young, but the kind of father figure of the South American lads. Have you had a chance to speak with McAllister?
Yeah, he's a good guy. Yeah. He laughs really funny, and that's the one. That's the one thing I remember about McAllister. He has like it's a very like that's the only way I can describe it. So he's tiny as well. That's the first thing I noticed about him. He was drinking his mate, and he again quite shy guy he was, and he was very courteous. Didn't spend too long with him. It wasn't this wasn't like an official interview. We were at the AXA. I don't know if anyone saw the content, but we got to go and interview all the coaches before they left. So Jürgen, Pep, Vitor, Peter, John. So we were around the AXA a lot. So we were just like casually bumping into people and having little minute conversations here and there. So that's the only thing I really remember from Alexis, that he laughs really strange. It's just a strange, like nervous, weird laugh, but he seemed like a nice guy,
Yeah, he strikes me as the type of guy who, off the pitch, he's just like a bloke, a lad, right? You can't tell there's superstardom, absolute quality on both feet on him. But when he's on the pitch, he's got the aura. You know, he's always in control. You can always trust him with the ball. And no matter where he is on the pitch, he'll play bloody well.
And he's aggressive. He's got that South American, Argentinian bite, drive, whatever you call it. Like, he's not scared to throw a foot in.
Yeah, and speaking of small guys, right? I personally think this guy is probably the nicest, most genuine, down-to-earth. He always has time for the fans. Harvey Elliott, to me, seems like a top bloke.
Yeah, that's completely true. He is awesome guy. He does. I think he watches the stuff as well, because he mentioned it to Paul a couple of times when we were speaking. He knew bits that we'd watched as well. It's funny because his people, I'm not sure it was him, or I'm guessing it was people. Yeah. He designed some new boots. And they've got a picture of his dog on. So his football boots are like, it's got his dog, and the dog's name's Paisley, of course, Liverpool fan, and he sent us he sent us a pair in. And I remember when I did say, like, thanks for the boots about your dog, and his eyes lit up like, oh, amazing. And I was asking about the dog, like, he loves his dog. That's what we knew about Harvey. I don't think we have spoken to him officially on the channel as well. We were actually meant to do something sitting down with Harvey a while ago, and unfortunately, actually, it was when he broke his leg. So it got curtailed, obviously, for obvious reasons. He had to go and do. I think he went abroad. There was rehab or something. But we bumped into him a couple of times, like media events. And the one thing Harvey's always done for us, like I think he recognises the faces. He recognises the people. If we're in like a mix zone or something, Harvey always comes over and has a chat and says hello.
Sure.
He's got a good. I think last year he spoke to Paul in the Far East, and he again backs himself. Paul said, "Oh, what's your aims for the season?" He was like, "I want double-digit goals, double-digit assists," and it wasn't in jest. Like again, he was really pushing himself.
Yeah.
But he's wise beyond his years. Like he's
mature.
Like,
mature.
He's played 100 odd games for Liverpool now, so he's an experienced player, but he is a kid. You're talking about all these young players coming into the team, and he's younger than most of them. But he's very wise beyond his years. But you can also tell he's a little bit flash in a good way. Like he you know, the clothes and the hair. He's not bothered. That was the cool thing about him. Like I'm trying to remember, someone was giving him stick at the time for a t-shirt he was wearing, one of the other players, and he was just laughing it off. Like he wasn't bothered. He was like, "Yeah, I think I look good." He was quite chill with it. I'm trying to think who it was. I think it was Robertson, but I don't want to confirm.
Probably be Robertson with it, cheeky chatty.
It feels like it. And he just laughed it off. He was cool, yeah.
No, that's good. That's good. And one thing I think I'm going to miss as well, if the rumors are true, Adrian San Miguel is, going to pass his new. He is that kind of, father figure, the experienced head. He doesn't expect to play, but he'll give it his all in training, be the extra goalkeeper, the extra man. And there's also rumors of Queeve Kelleher. I think Kelleher's more of a serious professional, really wants to get on and kind of do the job right. He's not the cheeky chappy and jovial joker like Andy Robertson. But then you got like Alisson Becker as well, who's, a man of integrity, respect, and does things the right way, and he's really calmly spoken. But when he thinks the team isn't performing, he's not afraid to say, "Come on, guys, step it up. We're better than this as well." And I find the mix of the keepers, all of them are very distinct personalities. But if Queeve and Adrian goes, then it's going to be two completely fresh faces, kind of new perspectives, new styles to blend in the mix. Have you talked with the goalkeepers much?
Yeah, so we had a really good relationship with John Achterberg. He was the keeper coach for ages. So it isn't just Adrian. Adrian's gone, John's gone. Jack Robinson's gone as well. He was John's assistant. Yes. So there's a chance that the goalkeeper department, obviously Fabian Otter's coming in. So it's Taffarel's hanging around as well. He's staying. But yeah, you're right. It's going to be a completely different circumstance. I've never spoken to Queeve, or I've spoken a little bit to Alisson, but it's very, very hello, nice to see you. Nothing too chatty. But John always spoke very highly of Adrian. And I think that might be one of the reasons Adrian's left, actually, is that the whole thing's changed and the dynamics changed and things like that. So you're all right. He was, I think, like a lot of the fan base, obviously, with the way things ended with Adrian, where, people hark back to Atletico Madrid and Aston Villa, where it just went badly wrong, forgetting the good bits before it. But when we've asked him a couple of times, even off record, John was speaking, but like, why are we signing Adrian? He's not homegrown. He's old. And he was like, honestly, he's a good guy. He accepts the role. He pushes the other two. He teaches Queeve a lot, like about that kind of stuff. He says, because he went, Alisson has to rightly focus more on his own game. Alisson can't. It's not Alisson's job to bring Queeve Kelleher along. It's Alisson's job to be the best goalkeeper on the planet. Exactly. Yes. So, but Adrian was more the one who would be helping Queeve along a little bit. You know what I mean? So, I think that was the dynamic within the group. But yeah, listen, Kelleher deserves to go and play somewhere, doesn't he? I'm sure if he can get that move, he will. I hope he doesn't. I hope he stays, because he's clearly a very, very good goalkeeper. He's one of the best backup goalkeepers you'll find. You'll be hard pressed to find another one. You've got the likes of Ortega, real high level backup goalkeepers. And
Ramsdale was for a while joint number one.
Yeah, exactly. So you'd say like, and Alisson's injury record isn't great. So there's a chance whoever the backup is probably going to play, but it looks, the mood music is that if a bid comes in that Liverpool feels comfortable and acceptable, they won't hold him back against his will. They'll let him go and forward your career. But yeah, that is an interesting dynamic, what they're going to do with goalkeepers, because they're probably, the rumour mill is that they'll probably keep Yaros around as like the third option, and he is homegrown, which helps that whole thing. But they are going to have to go and sign a backup goalkeeper. So if Kelleher goes for somewhere in the £30 million range, they probably have to go and spend half of that anyway to find
to get suitable backup to fit. Chilaga's still young as well. Yeah,
it's going to be interesting. Like I say, I mean, apologies to any of our American people if they're watching or listening, but like from a Liverpool point of view, it's quite good that America are out the Copa America now, because the coach comes back. Because there was a chance if they went far in that competition, Liverpool might have gone, a couple of weeks into pre-season with no goalkeeper coach, because Taffarel's in over there as well. Exactly. I don't even know who would. I mean, like, what I'm guessing it would have had to be one of the academy coaches or something would have had to take that role. There's literally no one here at the moment in time. So from America's pay might be Liverpool's gain a little bit there.
Yeah, indeed, indeed, and they were a little bit, unfortunate. They played their part. They tried their best as well. I guess in terms of prospects coming through as well, Liverpool have that conveyor belt of talent. But if you were to talk about your top three prospects, who has the highest ceiling in the Liverpool squad? You've got Harvey Elliott, you've got Ben Doak, you've got Fabio Carvalho, you've got lots of Harvey Elliott. We've talked about him, and Quansah as well coming out of the blue and literally staked his claim above Konate for a few weeks for starting place. Who are your top three prospects at Liverpool? Who has the highest ceiling? Who will go on to have the best Liverpool careers?
Yeah, can we call Harvey? I don't even know if we can call Harvey a prospect anyway. He's just a footballer. He's probably too experienced to be a prospect, but I think he could be anything.
He can go very high. Bernardo Silva, David Silva, they are the prototypes for him, right?
He can go far. I think Quansah is absolutely one. I think what we saw at Gerald Quansah, he's got the ability to be Liverpool, play for Liverpool for 10 years. It's early days and we don't know that. Listen, he had one great season. We'll see if he can follow that up with another one.
Yeah.
But the development from being out on loan at Bristol Rovers to being in the Liverpool team to keeping Ibu Konate out the team by the end of the season shows his rise. So I think he could be really, really promising. I'll probably go for a more under the radar one. I don't know if it's under. He has played first team football, but a lot of people think very, very highly of Bobby Clark at Liverpool.
Bobby Clark, yeah.
Yeah, he is very well thought of. Like, they think he could be special. Mm-hmm. Yeah, again, we've got good relationships with some of the academy guys and like the directors and the coaches. And he's one. I think I can say that. I'll say no. Sorry, apologies to Jay Spearman if this was off record, but Jay come in and he played alongside Bobby because Jay has that role as the 23s coach where he can play in the matches as well and help guide the players along.
Player coach, last 10 minutes.
Yeah, because that's what a lot of teams do that at under 23 level. Have like an older, experienced guy on the field with them. And he said Bobby Clark was a serious player. Like his levels could go very, very high.
He's got a lot of talent. The only thing I don't know about Bobby Clark is what is his strongest position in the midfield? Because he's very versatile. He can play all the roles in midfield.
Yeah, he's an 8. I think he's an 8.
An 8, yeah.
Yeah, probably so. Technically excellent, aggressive. He gets that from his dad. Very, very aggressive. Geordie, his dad, that was his dad's game running around, wasn't it, being a very aggressive player? So he gets that. I think he could. Whether he might go out on loan this season, but I think he's got a very high ceiling. Yeah,
him as well. Like Troy Nyoni as well in the midfield. Big expectations.
I met him. He's a child. Like when I met him, I was like, but he is. He's like,
very skinny lad at the moment.
He looks like he should be in school. I was like, you are a baby. I was like, I can't believe this guy's playing for Liverpool. Like, and he was a shy little 16-year-old kid, and he was with the 23s. And even then, he looked like the shy kid because he is. He's a literal child. But yeah, he's another one who when Liverpool signed him, through the back channels, they were very, very pleased. They thought they got themselves. They got themselves. Again, he's so young; it would be so hard. But I think he's just turned 17. But he might be the youngest looking footballer I've ever seen. Baby, he looked like a 12-year-old boy, like an absolute baby face.
Yeah, no, I hear you. There's a player in Japan called Takefusa Kubo as well. Takefusa Kubo. He looks very small and very young, childlike, a little bit petulant, but he's not that young, and he's actually not as small as you think he is. But they've just got that baby face and that diminutive stature.
So he's got that definitely.
Yeah, indeed. And Nallo's highly rated as well at the back, isn't he?
Yeah. People like again. We're lucky here because Dan Clubb, who's our social guy, he goes down the academy games all the time. So he's having these conversations and he talks to the guys. And yeah, another one, Liverpool, they've just done again. I think they're about, if they haven't already, announced that they're signing a young kid from Wolves. So they continue to invest in the young academy prospect, and it's bear fruit so far. Thinking way back to Raheem Sterling and Jordan Ibe, and then you've got now Harvey Elliott, Kate Gordon, Ben Doak,
Joe Gomez as well.
Bobby Clark. So they've done it for a while, and it's tended to work out well for them. And obviously now with more with the rules around, obviously with the UK, the UK is no longer in the European Union, so it's harder to bring foreign players in. So the hunt for the best young English and British talent has gone up another level. You'll see City spending millions and Arsenal spending millions and Liverpool. It's a bit unsavoury, really, to be speaking about kids in this way, but like everyone's doing it. That's the game at the moment, and Liverpool are at the forefront of that. And because the likes of Elliott and Jones and Alexander Arnold and Clark and McConnell and Dans, they've all been given first team football. I think it's making Liverpool a very highly attractive prospect for these type of players, where you might look elsewhere and go, if I go there, am I gonna be given an opportunity? I think if you're a good young player, Liverpool, Conor Bradley, there's loads of them where if I play and I do well, I will be given that opportunity. So I think I'd expect that conveyor belt to keep on rolling, really.
Yeah, no, absolutely makes sense. It makes sense to me as well. And I think the kind of Liverpool squad, the Liverpool infrastructure, the backroom stuff, everything has been put in place for Arne Slot to have sustained success, right? Michael Edwards coming back, Julian Ward coming back as well, Richard Hughes coming in. The whole infrastructure is built for long-term sustained success. And I really, really hope that Arne Slot pulls through and does it. It'll be so reassuring after Jurgen Klopp's brilliant reign to have someone that can just pick up the mantle and go from day one. Nice fast start. But in terms of a final word, your final expectations for Liverpool for next season, where do you see us ending up? Do you think it'll be a topsy-turvy season? Do you think we'll find a consistency? We'll hit the heights? We'll win a cup or two along the European adventure? What's the expectation?
So I don't know. I really don't know. I haven't seen it, but what I would accept if Liverpool didn't win something, but they look like there was a plan in place. I think it's very unrealistic to say to Arne Slot, you've got to come in, nail it from day one, when half your players are all over the world and you're not even going to see them for a while. So kind of similar to when Jurgen Klopp took over, and to a lesser extent Brendan Rodgers, where you saw what the plan was.
Yeah.
Now, the better thing for Arne is I think we should expect more because he's got better players. He's taken over way better team than Brendan took over. And a much better team than Jurgen took over from Brendan as well. So I think Liverpool's aim, like I say, build on last season. If top four is a must, that's got to be that's the minimum expectation, is that you've got to be playing Champions League football the season after. Sure. I just want to see that. I want to see that there's a clear plan. Like, for example, and I know it's easy to do this, but you look down the road at the other board manager who Man United's and I've still got no idea what their plan is. I couldn't tell you what style of football they play, what type of player they like, what they want to do, like how are they trying to win. And he's won 2 trophies, so it's been okay. But there's still no clear progression going forward what Man United are. I would like to say, even if there's ups and downs with it, because there was with Jurgen, it wasn't all plain sailing. But as long as you can see the general direction, that this guy knows what he's doing, and that we can see what he's trying to do, I think it's fair to give him a season to implement what he wants to implement. I think it's unfair to expect a new manager to come in from day one and just go, right, you have to win the league, you have to do this, this and this. That's really tough. But what I would say to end on that is that he kind of suggests that that's what he's going to do, because his interview suggested that that's what he wants to do. Yeah. So I think, like I say, because he's taken over such a good squad, I think we'd have to see. Listen, it can't be rubbish. It can't be rubbish, can it? But I just want to see what the plan is and make sure that everyone knows the plan. The plan's obvious to see and that it's working.
Yeah.
Other than that, hopefully, I'd like some more trips abroad and I'd like some trips to finals again, because we're spoiled. But I can't sit here and say I expect that, because I've never seen Liverpool kick a ball under him. But that's what I like. That's what I would like to see.
Yeah, no, that completely makes sense for me, and on the same kind of lines as well. So I think he'll give every opportunity to the players to show what they're about, show their quality, show they can fit under the slot machine, the new system, the new way of playing, right? And with that vein, I don't think we'll have the busiest transfer window. I think there might be 1 or 2 key players that comes in to help with that transition. But what I would like to see is, in the biggest games, against Manchester City away, at Old Trafford, against Arsenal at home, I want to see us be able to go toe-to-toe, that we belong at that level with an Arne Slot Liverpool, that he can fight against that level with that caliber of opposition. In the Champions League, if we're drawn against Real Madrid or Barcelona or whoever, he has enough tactical know about him to go toe-to-toe, to find the weaknesses in the opposition team, to find the right setup, to get Núñez firing, something about him tactically to show that he's got something about him that if we give him season upon season, that is going to grow into something beautiful. That's what I want to see, And the biggest matches, he can do it. And against not the minnows, but, who you'd expect to beat, he has that solid style of play that, gives yourself the best chance to just grind those points when you're tired and fatigued after Champions League night or whatever. You can go away to Fulham and you can win the 1-0s and, come back from behind. You're down 1, but you got to get the final, 2 goals. There's 3 points important. Man City hardly drop any points. That's what I really want to see, that he's got enough about him tactically to keep us going and keep us, chasing the pack all the way to the very end.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%, mate. Like I say, I'd say that does not. I say that I've got to be careful how I word it. Like that, there isn't a significant drop off. It'll be different,
Yeah.
but I don't think we should accept the fact that Liverpool are going to go from here to here. If they fall down, it's got to be because they're working on something new, and you can tell what that something new is to get themselves up again. I don't think Arne's unaware of the fact that he's following in the footsteps of an absolute legend, and that's never easy. But he's clearly a very confident man. Listen, it's weird because we're all told we should trust Michael Edwards. Everyone knows this is the man that they've chosen, so we should have faith in that, because we've had faith in pretty much all the hiring decisions Liverpool have made since the day Jurgen arrived. Has been pretty good on the whole. So I'm backing that they've got the right guy, because I'm quite excited to see it. Actually, I think it's going to be good. I think it's going to be good. I think it's going to be fun.
I think so. I'm really much looking forward to it. But in terms of looking forward to things, how can you take the spicy food? Are you any good with hot food?
Yeah.
Absolutely. So Miyazaki is famous for this Miyazaki Karamen. Now this is some very, very spicy. It's kind of like lava-like chilies, but the noodles are translucent, very chewy, very fine by design, and really, really tasty. And obviously being in Miyazaki in Japan, we've got loads of Japan exclusive goodies, the matcha Kit Kats. I don't know if you've ever tried any of this stuff. No. I'm going to be giving you a goodie bag full of Japanese goodies as my thank you for coming onto the show. So,
I appreciate that. I'm sure the team will enjoy it as well. So I'd really appreciate that.
Indeed. And the final word. This arrived today. This is the new Japan kit. What do you reckon of this nice Fire by Desire kit?
That's awesome. I always think Japan have awesome kits. That's the one thing I've always, every 4 years, I don't really watch Japan, but every 4 years that the World Cup, I always think, wow, their kit is banging. That's it. What's the Y3? What was this?
This is the sponsor. This is the sponsor of the kits.
Yeah. Okay, it's awesome. No, I like it. Was it off on Adidas for a while? I think I'm right in saying.
Yeah. So obviously it's collaboration. You can still see the white stripes here, and Japan Goodies, Japan Football Association. Awesome. So this is the kind of Technofit kits of Japan and Adidas, and it's blazing. Loving the Japan kits as always.
Actually, in the office. Did they play Syria? Was it Syria they played recently in a qualifying
game? Unfortunately, Asia Cup.
Yeah. We watched it here. It was on like a good time. Obviously, we were in it. It was on. We watched it in the air. I think they won quite comfortably in the end, didn't they? We watched and I was thinking, oh my god, I always love watching Japan because the technical ability is just frightening. It's so fast paced. It's awesome. It's always an entertaining watch. But the kits are always pretty cool, and that's another one. I think you've got yourselves another banger.
Exactly. No, I completely agree with you. Enjoying it myself. Feels very, very comfortable. But final word, thank you, Steve, for coming on. Really, really enjoyed that session. It was an absolute pleasure having you on here, and hopefully we can speak again very soon.
Absolutely, mate. Look forward to it.